Hey, we're here.
Hey, um,
Um,
you got a
yeah,
little bun cake
I
behind
did.
you.
Listen, I got a little something something behind me. For those of you watching this on video, you're getting little eye candy.
Big
Um,
bottom.
Big
Well,
bottom,
it's not that.
talk
It's not that.
about bun cakes. My boys got 'em.
They're actually
Um,
not that big. He's pretty
no,
slender.
it's not quite no acetol syndrome. But but I don't know, there's a lot of muscle there and I can get down with it. I think he can, real
He
muscular stuff. But
he's
the
doing his
last time,
squats. Yeah.
yeah, he's doing a lot of squats, a lot of glute work. Um, so last time all of you saw us, we were in a very interesting state of
Mhm.
mind and mood. We had just, very candidly shared our feelings about the Criterion 40 box set. And if you guys watched that, you would have seen that I had a very angry Mifune behind me, angry about the box set, angry that there was no Kurosawa or Mifune representation in that box set. And you know what? Guess what? I'm I'm in a better place today than I was last week. I think Aaron might be in a better place. We still think it's a dumb box set, but
Yeah.
I
And
don't think we're ever going to change our minds on that. But I just, wanted to like bring some joy,
mhm.
merriment to the call. And as you can see, we've got Ryan Verrill here. And
Yes. Hey,
hey, hey,
Ryan.
hey. So I just, I'm gonna move back in front of this so that we don't violate any like laws. But
What's
he's not completely naked. If you go to the
yeah.
beach, like in Miami, you're gonna see a lot more than that. Okay.
Can we say he
So
puts the fun in Mifune?
I
That's a
like
good
that.
one. That's a good. That's
I
see.
like
That's why we
that.
have you, Ryan.
So
I'm gonna
yeah.
laugh my ass off. Well, I already messed it up by saying ass, but I'm gonna laugh when I upload it to YouTube and they say, "Is this for kids?" You're like, yeah. Oh, it's totally for kids.
Yeah.
Little
So
boys, little girls.
yeah, so we've got
Ryan,
an announcement and we've got some criterions to talk about. And Aaron, anything you want to add to that?
I just want to welcome Ryan Verrill, from Disconnected.
Thank you.
Fast friends. I think we're going to talk a little bit about partnership.
Yeah,
So Ryan, and Ryan, hopefully you'll stick around a little bit. I know you don't have time, so it's Ryan's wife's birthday. Can I share that? I just
of
did,
course.
so
Yeah.
I'm not editing it.
But he
So
She's
also has like,
94.
woo!
it's been 80 years.
He's got he's got
Titanic
a
gif.
he's got a but he's got like dad responsibilities and like husband
Yeah,
responsibilities. And matter of fact, I've got mom responsibilities because I've got to be able to pick up my daughter from school. So we're gonna kind of
I have
rip
no
through our
responsibilities whatsoever, so
zero,
I'll just
not a
keep
thing.
talking. I
He's
can go
gonna
to
we're
sleep if
gonna
I want
leave
to.
we're gonna leave and Aaron's just gonna be here for like the next 8 hours just talking
The
by
way to do
himself.
it.
I know, right? So, Ryan, we kind of have this thing we want to announce, and we thought, well, why not let you announce it?
Yeah, I am thrilled to finally reveal something that's been long in the works, that Criterion now is joining the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. And this is a big
Who's?
deal because Someone's Favorite Productions, which I'm wearing the logo tee,
Okay,
had
okay.
to. This is a
Oh,
big deal. We are fast becoming the home of a lot of podcasts that people turn to for news on the labels, for honoring some of these boutique Blu-ray labels, for getting appreciation for titles that have been coming out for years. And it just made perfect sense to get Criterion now to join in with that. And now we're looking at being the home for not only Criterion but the Imprint cast out of Australia. We
hmm.
have the brand new Punk Vacation, an unofficial Vinegar Syndrome podcast. Literally today, as we're recording this, we are launching the official Mondo Macabro podcast.
Oh, that's
Saw that.
awesome.
We run the TerrorVision home video podcast. We just launched the Radiance cast. There's another one getting announced next week. Like, there are so many of these that it's crazy that we've just all come together and truly can, like, take all of our superpowers and mesh them together for good. And I feel like it'll be a great future for us.
It's
Yeah.
a great fit. Ryan, I have to announce something to you. We are launching a plastic bag with a bunch of jewel cases and a Sharpie podcast. No,
Amazing, amazing.
that's a thing, you know. Why
Yeah,
not
so
have a Sharpie
what
cast?
what's great is that, Aaron and I, we put Criterion Now, I guess, on like,
Yeah.
it was,
Hi
we
hold
weren't sure,
hiatus.
hiatus, because we weren't really sure if we were gonna do it anymore. And part of that was we just kind of felt a bit stagnant on what we wanted to do more, which is why Cine Journeys came about. But now that we're doing Cine Journeys, and Cine Journeys, we can literally do anything we want. Because we have that, we were both like, well, what if we also bring back Criterion Now? And so it's funny how that works, but it's like creatively, we are getting fulfillment from what we're doing with Criterion Now. So it's really awesome that
Oh,
we
it's a
have.
blast.
It's
We got to
great.
trash. We got to trash a box set. We've never done that before.
I
So.
mean, come on.
And Ryan, I
Well,
know
and
you had some
it's,
opinions. We'll get into that.
Oh yeah.
but like it's
Well,
really
briefly.
it's really, it's also like, it feels good to not necessarily be beholden to one label, but we can still dedicate this podcast and still have this other thing that we're doing where we can do whatever we want. So so we're really glad and thrilled to be part of the network, and see where this baby goes.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, Ryan. So, and you're putting together really just a tremendous network. We've actually been on the network, I don't know, what, a month now, Ryan?
Something like that.
We
Yeah.
just haven't told anybody. So I've been kind of behind the scenes. I'm actually guesting tonight on another one of your shows. And Jill, I'm sorry. Please keep moving around because I'm just seeing like left cheek, right cheek, left cheek, right cheek. This is definitely an episode for video. But I also wanted to share that we have the Cine Journeys that we've been building for a long, long time, and we haven't really shared the power of it. I mean, it's really I know you've seen some of it, but we were going to build a series called Unwrap the Plastics, basically just about physical media, because to Jill's point about how I'm not going to say we got tired of Criterion. We always loved Criterion, but we wanted to talk Arrow, we wanted to talk Indicator, you name it, all these Vinegar Syndrome, all sorts. And we have friends doing supplements for them, which I know is a big part of your network as well. So we knew that to do this right, we couldn't just make a few pages and just let it go. So your label is actually the perfect partner because we're going to release Unwrap the Plastics, and we're going to have a dedicated page for each, or we can't do each label, but probably each label on the show. Maybe not the plastic bag Sharpie label. I don't know. But and we're also going to have creators on there. So there'll be what we call them journey pages. So there'll be a journey page for Disconnected. And it's not, we'll do others. We don't want to, we're not going to just be like the Disconnected, we're going to be try to open minded, but anybody that's credible. So for example, Brian Saar, Just the Discs, he'll probably have one. There'll be a couple others. And then what you have all these episodes for all these. So I did not expect a Mondo Macabra journey page, but why not? And so when that gets released, we'll just put the episode on, and we won't put it on, but we'll link to it from there. So everybody will be able to catch up on all these. It's just another way of distribution and celebration and talking about physical media, which, by the way, is not dead. So thank you for
Not
that.
even a little bit.
Not even close. It's come back alive. So also Criterion,
it's come back alive, even in the form of box sets that we think are really stupid.
Yes. We don't have to buy them all. Especially, I did check to see if the price changed from 800. It didn't. So, but I also want to share that Criterion Close Up, which is so I've actually been doing this almost 10 years now. I'm sick. So Criterion Close Up with that was with Mark Herney, although Jill, you and Wade guested on at least one episode. There might have been another.
We did the Notorious episode, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to think if there was another one, but I know for sure we did the Notorious one.
Yeah, so we're actually that's already on the network too. Although we have to go and I have to go look on some old hard drives and find some old shows. But fortunately, I have my old blog website, CriterionCloseup.com, which has all 64 episodes there. So we'll get those up online, and I've also talked to Mark Herney, who was my co-host for that, and he's excited about that, and we might even do a few episodes here and there, just a deep dive, and so yeah, more on that to come. But yeah, we're excited, Ryan. Thanks for coming on to join.
It's
Um,
genuinely an honor for all of us involved in the network to have you guys on. I really wanted to make sure I got this part in there because so many of us do what we do because of things like the Criterion Collection, but also because of Criterion Now. You guys have inspired a lot of listeners over the years and have made people not only excited about film, but like the actual. I don't want to make it sound weird, but
mhm.
like the ritual aspect of physical media. Of there's something interesting about making it an actual. I know that I'm focusing on taking this off of the shelf, on unwrapping it, on opening it, on being able to smell it and place it in a player. And when you put it in, it feels different. It's not sitting on a couch at 1:30 in the morning and you know grinding through Hulu to see what's on. It is something
Right.
where you are making an actual deliberate choice to immerse yourself in art, and that's something that you guys have always
Mhm.
pushed for. And so, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for saying that, and it was
yes,
nice
it's very
to.
sweet.
Like I said, it's been a month, and it was nice to see the reception. And a couple of people had some very kind comments in that vicinity. So, yeah, we're happy to inspire people, but we're pretty humble, chill. We don't really care, and we've been inspired by
I
you.
mean,
Well, okay,
I am the
she's an
greatest to
egomaniac,
ever live.
narcissistic. She
Yeah,
just when we're not
I'm
recording, she's just looking in the mirror.
I was going
I'm
to
a
say
mo-
I was not allowed to cancel that check. Jill said I had to send her to put her on the network. So
I
yeah.
still yeah, Mifune's butt
Hey,
cheeks,
I
Jill.
have been
Wow.
called far worse, let me tell you.
Yes.
I'll leave it at
Uh,
that.
yeah, and actually, like there's something I just remembered that we're gonna talk about after the show. But Ryan, so let's just jump right in because I know you're on the clock. But we also, as it happens, criterions were announced today. Well, okay, we said we were not going to talk about CC40, and I know you talked a little bit about it. So let me just give you like a minute or however you want to just give your take on CC40 before we get into the November releases. I won't share it. Um,
the big thing I ran into last week on my show is I saw many people online calling it a cash grab, and I laughed every time I read that because to me this feels like a genuine anti-cash grab. This feels
yes.
like let's
Yeah.
make a celebratory announcement that we expect very few people to purchase, just so it looks like we're lifting ourselves up. And the reality is this is not Criterion. This is not the sort of thing that appeals to libraries, to educational centers, to new collectors, to people that have been following them since the 90s, or people that have fell
Mhm.
in love with them with laser discs. Like this is the sort of thing that is just sort of a weird soup of what they've done that has no connective tissue, and they genuinely hope they ship about 15 boxes and that's it.
Weird
It,
soup. That
weird
is
soup. Yeah.
so
It really
appropriate.
is kind of the plastic bag with the Sharpie, just it's a nicer bag and
Yep.
a nicer Sharpie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it seems transparent, like it seems like a cash grab, but not well thought out because although Ryan, to your point, after we recorded our episode, somebody had a good point that libraries actually could use this because they can just pull the discs. No, you're not agreeing with that, Jill? No?
Not at
Okay.
They
all.
they have to buy other cases to be able to allow people to rent them. Why does that benefit that?
That's a good
No,
point.
that's not,
Yeah.
they're not going to do that. There's
Not at
no
Yeah.
all.
way, because it would be it actually is, they don't have that kind of dough to drop. I mean,
Right.
and
They'd
they
have to make
probably,
it would be the Sharpie cases.
my
Actually, I'm
guess, and
not joking.
I cannot speak to this, but my guess would be that they probably are able to work with these labels or
Yeah.
other wherever they have contracts, because these libraries probably have
Mhm.
contracts with various distributors or uh you know, um, stores or whatever, or whoever they order their things through catalog or whatever. And they have to go through that, and they have to, when they get that, it's not like they take the disc and they put it on the shelf. You know, it's just like with the books too. They have to add their own binding, their own plastic covering to it. And that's part of the librarian's task, is basically making whatever they're putting out to be lent out. They have to essentially fortify it to make it, you know, okay for that. So when I go to my library, and they have a fair amount of discs, but I will tell you, the vast majority are DVD. They do have some Blu-ray, but the vast majority are a DVD. And that's from a cost standpoint and from an accessibility. So just a reminder, I am in a major metropolitan area, okay? And the vast majority of the discs on the shelf are DVD. And it's because that is what they can make a case for, is they say, well, you know, the most people can use DVD. So if they go to Blu-ray, if they go to 4K, then they are reducing the reach that they have. So it has to be the most accessible. And then they basically put it in a new case that is like no case that you can, you know, get from any label. It's like a special library
like a
case.
Blockbuster case.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they have a new spine, and then they may somehow take the cover and put it in. But sometimes there's not even cover art. So I just don't think that they're going to drop, even at a discount. They're not going to drop that on this massive box set, when a large part of that price is, number one, they're not going to have those supplements available separate to loan out, rarely. And they're certainly not going to have the booklet available or the case. So they're just going to go and they're going to order the discs as they are, you know.
I guess the supplement, you mean the extra disc. So if there's a
that's what I meant.
because there's
like
40, 49,
I cannot
Criterion
think of
closet
a single
discs.
I cannot think of a single library that would go, oh, this is something we could spend our budget on. There's no way.
I can imagine calling my library saying, "Hey, do you have the Vim Vendors Closet video?" Okay, I'll go to YouTube. Well, okay. On that note, sorry, libraries. Although, frankly, for $800, I think you can probably get 40 jewel cases. So Criterion wants you to think about that. But hey, it's not hate. We still love you. And one thing I said last week was, if they had a really crappy November release slate, then I would generally, if like CC40 was like the big thing of this year, I would be disappointed. I'm not angry, you know, there are other things in life, but it's a pretty great slate. So let's get to it, if you don't mind.
Well, hey, Aaron,
yes.
Let me just say very quickly that one thing that I said, I think it was on our Criterion Now Facebook page, and I've repeated it a few times, is this, you know, I want to make sure people know this box set didn't like murder our families.
Right.
Okay.
It's just a box set.
It's just a box set. So, you know, and if anybody's still like really hung up on it and whatever, just take a deep breath, go touch some grass, and then move on. You know, like, it's okay. It's really stupid. But the thing is,
smoke some grass. I don't smoke, but it's fine.
Smoke some grass. Yeah, go for it.
That would help.
It's fine. Yeah.
But Criterion's going to live to see another day. They have the backing from a billionaire now. That box set was probably his idea, who knows. And now we've got a really great lineup of releases. So, you know, onward and upward.
I can be critical of billionaires, but I don't want to be on their shit list. So I'm going to just move right on from there. Okay. So, well, you know, actually, it's kind of fun to start off with Godzilla, Gojira. It's not the same, but the band Gojira.
No. They say we got to go. Godzilla.
There's that Godzilla. That's Deep Purple, right? Yeah. Or was that Blue Oyster Cult?
No, that's Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, don't put that shit on Deep Purple, man.
And Gojira is a band from France that played in the opening ceremonies, and people are like, what metal, and people were some other things too. It's not on topic here, but yeah, Godzilla. Of course, a lot of us have the box set, but this is a 4K Godzilla, and it also has Godzilla King of the Monsters, which I believe is the American. Okay, so that's
That's
really the
the
just
Raymond Burr.
yeah. So not
Yeah.
that's kind of a cheat. So and I think the supplements are about the same. I don't see anything new. Yeah, nothing new, but you do get Godzilla in 4K, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Ryan, are you a Godzilla fan?
Yes and no. I'm a fan of the couple that I've seen. I actually just released a big, all-encompassing episode on Godzilla on one of my other shows
Saw
called
that.
Film Foundations, featuring Celeste La Cabra, another friend of the show. That
Hmm.
being said, I'm a fan of their Blu-ray release, which makes me so disappointed in this 4K release. I'm really kind of tired of the retreads from Criterion.
Yeah,
Even if it
yeah.
was just an artwork change, I really wish we would get something that showcases the actual definitive release of what this is meant to be. I mean, if you're wanting this to be the release for the next, forever potentially, because this is likely the last physical media format ever, let's do that and spend a few $100s more on some
Yeah.
actual historians to give us new features. I mean, it's Criterion. They would be
I'm
able to
with
get
you.
many of
I'm
these
with
big
you.
names for
Yeah,
free.
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree with that. Or, at the very least, if they're going to do an upgrade because the technology has changed, then don't make it part of the release slate. Just do it.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I like, don't let it take a slot from the rest, because they aren't producing anything new. You're right.
Hmm.
And I do know that, like, they were a little slow to do the 4K releases, and part of that's like, you don't want to invest in something that, it costs, and their overhead is less, right, or lower
Right, right.
than, say, one of, like, the studio releases or something like that. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. Is either, if this is going to be definitive, put something together that's different, or just kind of quietly put it out there and just leave it be.
Yeah, and I'm with that too. And Criterion, if you're listening, we are open to singing "Go Go Godzilla" on as a commentary, and we might think of like two or three other songs. But no,
Oh, there goes Tokyo. Oh, oh, Godzilla.
we also know that
Ooh.
they have or we believe they have the rights to the later Godzilla series. I believe it's the Heisei era. I might be pronouncing that right, but it's like the 80s and 90s version. So I think they're sitting on that, but would love to see that. But I agree. Also 4K discs have more space. And they can also they put a Blu-ray in anyway, so I know they don't put supplements on the 4K disc because of the region issue. Because I think that's a little. I don't doubt people in Japan, well, maybe Japan for this release, but say Indonesia are going to buy one and be like, oh no, I can't watch this, this interview with Akira Takarada, you know, so I think that's a little. I understand the business reasons, but yeah. Anyway, so Godzilla 4K. I'd love to see Godzilla 4K, but I'd love to see the entire set in 4K. So I think that would have been the move with some extra features. Although I do know that those scans are expensive. I think at last I
Well,
heard it
and
was
some of those
200K.
movies, I'm not quite sure if the higher
Right.
definition would be so kind to them. Not everything needs to go to 4K. I know there's
You're
people that probably disagree with me on that, but I think back to that Foreign Correspondent Blu-ray,
right.
and
Yeah.
it was like, did not, that movie did not translate to a high definition
So Jill,
format.
you're saying that a guy in a rubber suit walking around a miniature city is not going to be better with like 10 times the
Yeah,
pixels? Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well,
No, I need that shit on VHS. That's what I'm talking about.
there you go. Let's do a VHS set. That would be I would maybe buy CC40 if it would probably have to come with a player, but so
And a
anyway.
palette to hold it all.
I know, I know.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
my friend gave me she lucked my friend Mariah Gates, she lucked in on a I think it was when she worked for Warner Archive or Rotten Tomatoes or something, and she stumbled upon a giant box set of Elvis movies on VHS, and the set comes in a giant guitar case, and she
Nice.
gave it to me. And so, so
Wow.
I have
Mariah's
this,
awesome.
and it's like, first of all, it's like, I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but it's really awesome. And like, I just love that, like, and I even had like the old VHSs of like Pee-wee's Playhouse, and it's only got like one episode per tape, so it's like this massive, love it.
I think VHS should make a comeback. Also, Mariah, awesome person, and has a book coming out. Speaking of Criterion, it's about female filmmakers
Yes,
and
Cinema Her
the
Way.
Cinema Her Way. The cover image is from Girl Fight, for Michelle Rodriguez's first film. So if you've seen, the Fast and the Furious, that's where she started. So, okay, well, we have this movie Scarface, not by this is not the Pacino. This is
Push it
Howard
to
Hawks.
the limit. No, this is not that movie. Sorry, I'm in a
Did
real
not prepare my vocal cords for this episode. I'm sorry.
I am in a real singy mood today, apparently. So
we have an audio journeys thing we've been doing, so that is part of our thing. And right now it's needle drops. So actually, Jill, I was just looking at my needle drop. I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to spoil it. But this is actually a long time in the making, or
yes,
making. Yeah, I guess that too. But this, I'm actually kind of surprised that this one has not been received like a prestigious release. But we have Scarface, Howard Hawks, relatively early sound Howard Hawks. And Paul Mooney, of course, Boris Karloff, early in his career as well. George Raft, who is often a punchline. But I want to draw attention to this. Our last guest before you, Ryan, Imogen, did not tell us a thing about this. So
no.
She
She
locked
had a
that
real
down.
poker face.
She
Which
locked that down.
I will not sing the song Poker Face. I'm gonna my
It's the most obvious cue.
poker face.
I mean, like, we can talk openly, but she is awesome with secrets. So I love it because, it's a nice surprise, and it's going to be an awesome essay. So Ryan, since you're our special guest and you're also on a time limit, I don't want you to have to bounce early. What do you think of Scarface? This one.
Couple things.
Yeah.
I really want to highlight the fact that the studio just a few years ago treated this simply as a bonus feature when they released the other Scarface. So the fact that Criterion is willing to give this love and attention as a single release, making sure that people will focus on this, making sure that libraries everywhere will get this, that's a big deal. The other big thing, big fan of anything pre-code coming out, and the fact that we're getting something pre-code in 4K is that will always be something that I genuinely like, almost tear up that we're getting something archived that properly. This is a massive deal from a film standpoint, and many people won't even think about that as they click purchase in November. So I'm glad it's here.
Yeah, and I just have to say, this also has Ann Dvorak in it, who is one of the great actresses of that time period. And my friend Christina Rice is like the preeminent Ann Dvorak scholar. She wrote a fantastic book about her. Spent, well over a decade researching her, just because she's not known today. So it's really, really awesome to have this out too. I hope that people discover her work as well. And Paul Mooney is kind of like, he was also very much of the time and an excellent actor, but largely forgotten. But he's probably one of the great kind of proto method actors. I say proto because the method had not been developed yet. But unlike so many of the, and this, I don't mean this in a negative, but a lot of the actors back then, like you have Bogey or Cary Grant or whatever, like there are Bogey and Cary Grant in their roles, and they're very good in them, but they're not really like taking on the characteristics of the part. Paul Muni did. Another one would be like John Garfield. Those were I think the way that they put themselves into a character was different than, oh, well, there's Paul Muni playing, this character or whatever. So this film is a masterpiece. And for those who haven't seen it, you're really in for a treat. I'm with you, Ryan. Like, it is, anytime one of these films gets not discovered, but is given that treatment and is essentially rediscovered or will be rediscovered, it's great for this particular film, but I think about all the other performances by these actors here that will possibly get discovered by someone who watches this and goes, oh my God, this guy's amazing. I want to watch more of his work. So this is just a great, great release. And for those people who only know Howard Hawks from like Red River
Right, right.
or His Girl
Bravo.
Friday, exactly.
Peter Bravo, yeah.
This is like such a treat. So yeah.
Yeah, he's a master of so many genres. And if you're on video, I'm scrolling through the stills, and they look amazing. And I just finally watched The Roaring Twenties, which is later gangster movie, but also underappreciated. And also they had Bogey, and this was before High Sierra, before Casablanca, so
Yep.
they didn't know what to do with him. But he is awesome. So, and the same was the case with Paul Mooney. He kind of had a hot minute there where he was kind of an it guy. But
He was
yeah,
the actor of the moment. I think
yeah,
he won 2 Oscars or something, or I can't remember, but like dude was ever, and he was a
he was
serious
in a lot of
actor.
good movies. Yes,
And
he was.
he was in a lot of stuff. So, and then it was just, and then that was it.
Just want to point out a couple things. So there's an alternate ending. So from the censored, so this is pre-code, and there's a censored version. So that's interesting. Also, Megan Abbott is talking to Bill Hader. And speaking of which, we're doing coming of age, and Jill is going to be talking about Superbad, which I don't think there'll be any crossover between this conversation and his
Who knows?
portrayal of a
You never
upstanding
know.
officer. Yes, maybe he'll sing some gangster rap songs in this, like he
Oh
did
my
did the
God.
Superbad. But and also I don't know Leah Jacobs, but she's doing an interview on Howard Hawks' use of sound and editing, and Hawks was a master. We all know this. Masterpieces in like virtually every genre. So, and I think the sound and editing is probably an area where he's underrated or underappreciated. So yeah, let's move on. We have a few. Oh, Jill, you might like this one.
Oh,
So
hey,
there's
hey.
uh
I'm
there's
about to
but
get this amazing scene behind me. I'm about to
he,
see that in some high def, man. It's
you are
4K, baby.
violating Mr. Mifune there, Jill. I
Listen,
mean, come on.
listen.
This is a kids show.
I know, I know. I need to really straighten up my act. I'm out of control. I apologize. Man, listen, I don't always go for every upgrade,
Hmm.
but this is one that like without question I am there 100%. This is a movie that is and the 4K
Let me
that's
look at the
touring right
stills.
now. I know people that have gone to see it and they are like it is like
Same.
life changing, and also the number of people who are going to these screenings who have never seen this movie is
Yes.
so incredible. um this is gorgeous. This looks gorgeous. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't wait. And I'm
And
hoping that those battle scenes in the rain, it looks like they're a little clearer, because in the past they've been look fantastic, but they're a little dark.
this looks,
So
yeah, looks like there's
it looks great. Oh my God, looks like you
you
just
can
reach
see.
in and
Oh,
touch
yeah.
them.
Kurosawa and Rain, like there's no better director. And it's all fake rain, right? It's all
Yeah.
but
Kurosawa's up there with a garden hose and he's putting his thumb over the thing to make it.
action.
Yeah.
Um, Ryan, I want to hear your opinion, but I also want to share that we have been waiting for this, and you never know with the theatrical restorations. Sometimes it can take like 6 months, but we were hoping this one would be quicker because we are planning a Japanese samurai journey. We can finally schedule it. We kind of have it like in pencil. So, but we felt like we couldn't do that one without this 4K restoration. So, Ryan, have you heard of this guy Kurosawa?
No, this is a nice little indie feature I'm glad we're getting from this unknown filmmaker. Obviously a masterpiece.
It's
Very
mumblecore.
excited that we're able to get this out there. Me personally, and I swear I'm not coming on the Criterion podcast just to be the contrarian. I'm ordering the
Mm,
BFI release of this one,
okay.
primarily because I have the Blu-ray and it has all these same features, and at least the BFI version has a new commentary from Adrian Martin, who is
Oh, I love
an
Adrian.
Yeah, me
incredible
too.
commentator. It's got a little bit of a, different packaging. It's got some art cards with it. There's a lot of different ways to ingest this, and I've kind of already ingested the Criterion version
Fair.
many times. So yeah, I'm definitely going for this one, and I hope that they both do very, very well for new fans. This is something that, a lot of people were waiting to purchase this until it got the 4K release that we all knew eventually would come.
Yeah.
And November is the time. You are finally able to get something and see it for the first time that will blow your mind. I will say the only thing that is sort of disappointing about the Criterion version, which I don't even remember if it's on the, oh, look at that. No, it is on the BFI. I don't believe there's HDR on the Criterion version. It's an
Okay.
SDR 4K,
Oh, yeah.
which is a big deal because this film gets dark in quite a few scenes,
It
and
does.
HDR in those black scenes it's going to change the way that you experience this film.
And
That's
this
a very
Tony
good point.
Raines, is, I don't believe it's on the Criterion either. And even though it's 2013, 49 minutes with Tony Raines on any Asian, well, especially Asian cinema. He's
Yep.
done a lot of great work. He was on the Three Colors. I believe that was the Artificial Eye, Curzon. But yeah, so of course, listeners, watchers, if you have a 4K player, you can play this one, but probably just the movie. Although I'm not sure if BFI puts their supplements on the second disc, but probably the movie and the commentary, at least. You might not be able to watch the features unless you have a Region B player. I highly recommend having a Region B player, but that's me. I know that that's expensive. It's been expensive for our household. But I might do the same, Ryan. I'm usually, but I have the Seven Samurai. I don't really care about the best version. I know no disrespect to Keith, our another friend of the show. He will buy whatever the best version is, 4K. He'll buy the CC40, which cheers to him. That's what he loves. But I might buy this one. So good call.
Yeah, the price is
So
right too on that.
Yep.
it's about,
So
yeah, if you convert the pound to dollar, it actually might be cheaper.
I think it's a little
Not
cheaper.
counting
Not on a
counting sale.
sale. Not
Yeah.
on, yeah, not counting a sale. But
These
here
screenshots.
we are on Criterion going, all right, let's buy this BFI release. But that is a good point though, is if you do already have
Oh, look
this
at that.
on Blue, I actually would be interested to get a side-by-side comparison at some point, that whoever has the equipment to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I would be
Uh,
interested to see the difference.
I don't know what you think of a Gary, but DVD Beaver, Ryan, but he does a lot of that. I guess if you don't think highly of him, please don't say so here because, but I do like what Gary does. But
Gary's a legend in the business. He does great work. The only thing I will warn against is something that we are seeing in current physical media is bad encoding on some releases. And that's not
Yeah.
something that you can see in a still image. It happens with
yeah,
movement, and there's no easy way to display good comparisons of those. And there have been some Criterion releases that, Studio Canal will do the
mhm.
4K, and then Criterion will do the 4K, and the Studio Canal actually has a little bit better of an encode. So it is something, if you are region free or if it's the 4K disc and you really only care about the film, it's worth researching to see what might be the best release
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's great advice. And at least we don't have to worry about teal ray in this one. It's not going to be teal. If that's a major accident. And I just want to click on AK 25. So
Oh,
yeah, this would be if you want to do a 4K. Now I'm sure they haven't done 4K scans of a lot of these old films, but I'm gonna just scroll through
I
here.
mean, I'll just take a
It's just a
Blu-ray set
master
of it.
class.
I mean,
Same, yeah.
I know that's not ideal, but like do half of it in 4K and
Hmm.
I need this to not be, I did not buy it when it was out
Same.
because we were still straddling this, and I didn't want to invest, but I really wish.
It doesn't have dreams. I think they
No,
have more rights, and Redbeard has a restoration that is probably now about 7 years old. Because I
we need
remember
it.
thinking,
We
yeah,
need it. I
Redbeard.
mean, come
It's
on,
not on
man.
Blu-ray even. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to appear grateful, but I would much have preferred this rather than that CC40. And I think that this would actually be a better way to celebrate 40 years of Criterion because Kurosawa is, arguably, maybe between him, Bergman, Fellini, etc., one of the biggest names to come out of the Criterion. There's this guy, William Wyler, and I think I know who likes him. I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't? But Jill, I know you're a big fan, so you want to take this one?
Yes. Yeah, sure. So, William Wyler is probably my favorite director. If not, definitely like top three, top four. Um, and I think what I love about William Wyler is that he was unafraid to try different things. And he also kind of gets I've talked about this a lot about how, he kind of gets written off when you're talking about the great directors and the auteurs. And I've always
Yes.
thought of him as like the people's auteur. He's definitely a very technically brilliant director, but also and there was some signature hallmarks, especially when he was working side by side with Greg Toland, the great cinematographer.
Oh yeah.
But he because he kind of dabbled in all these genres, I think it really did him a disservice in terms of his legacy, or how people think of him. But for me, I think it makes him one of the most versatile directors to ever do it. And this movie is a great example of that. And I think a lot of people dismiss him because of this movie, or because of Ben-Hur, or because of Roman Holiday, because they look at those movies as maybe not as great. This movie is a fucking masterpiece. And even if you don't like Babs, the performance this is like the performance of a lifetime. Where she's playing Fanny Bryce. Now, also, if you have like a phobia of biopics, which, look, they can really be nasty. This movie is beyond biopic. Like it's just, it is an absolute masterpiece. And if you're not a musical fan, that's fine. You still need to watch this movie. She Babs is so good in this. She was made for this role. And she won the Oscar that year, tied with Katharine Hepburn for Lion in Winter.
Who's
One
also
of
great.
only who's fantastic.
Yeah.
But one of two times that there was a tie, the other was with Frederick March and Wallace Beery, which actually was not a tie. Frederick March had one vote more, but they had some stupid rule that they had to have like a margin between. But anyways, this
It's like
scene
tennis
here,
rules. What the hell?
yeah, this scene here, that
Oh, this one.
you're on, where she's on the ferry and she's headed, I won't spoil, but is like hair raising, goosebump, tears beauty. And the way that she is in this film, the way that Wyler directed her in this moment, is a woman triumphant. It is
That's
stunning.
awesome. Jill's Secret.
So
I've never seen it.
it's really good. And
I can't wait.
even if you, again, if you don't like musicals, I think there is something here to appreciate for everyone. And also Omar Sharif is, I mean, God, I love that motherfucker.
Um,
Anyways, I mean, right here, this conversation with David Wyler and Alicia Malone. David Wyler is amazing, and what he has done, single-handedly done for his father's, like keeping his father's legacy alive. He is marvelous. I've seen him speak so many times. And of course, Alicia Malone,
yeah, friend of the
I
show and yours,
friend of the show, and
co-worker.
I used to write scripts for her once upon a time for TCM. She's really great at what she does. And so I'm really looking forward to that feature. And
I
then
was really
Michael
happy to see
Koreski.
her name there. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah, and
Koreski as
Michael
well.
Koreski. And
Yeah.
at first I thought it was maybe an old conversation that they, because I know that Criterion has licensed a lot from TCM and former Filmstruck, but it does appear to be a new conversation, which I think is great.
Yeah, I like that Koreski's been back because he went to Film Comment, I believe it was, or maybe maybe it was Film Threat. I forget which one. But he's always been very close to Criterion. So Ryan, you got any thoughts on Funny Girl? We have two
I
left.
think I will check it out. I've just like you, never seen it, and I'm excited to be able to see it in the best possible format.
Nice.
Woohoo!
Well, Omar Sharif, we could talk about that long walk in the desert. A friend of ours did, which was awesome. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Pretty standard. We haven't really talked about the cover art. I did want to give a shout out. I did like that Scarface cover a lot. This one I think is probably from the poster.
It is. It
But
actually
it's a good,
they pulled it from the
yeah, it
poster.
actually says that.
And I honestly think this is how you have to do it because the
Yeah,
artwork is so iconic, and
it
because
is.
this
Yeah.
was a film adaptation of the Broadway play, I really think you have to stay in that same spirit.
Agreed.
All right. Well, okay, let's move on. We just have two left, and then we'll let you go, Ryan. But we have a first here for Criterion. Well, kind of a first. This is the second time there has been more than one guy dressed in a lizard suit. I'm assuming a guy on separate releases. So we have Godzilla jumping over cities, and then
It's a
we have
monster
this.
movie month. It's a monster movie month. There
And
we
we
go.
have this
Well,
green guy in the bathtub.
there's actually one more monster coming up in the next release we'll discuss. But
Okay, no.
it's a whole monster movie lineup.
Yes, there is a monster in the next release. So hold your never mind. I was going to make a really bad joke that would have made Jill laugh like crazy. But this is The Shape of Water. So GDT. I'm always happy for GDT. My wife just got home, so I remember watching The Shape of Water in theaters with her, and I think she liked it. She said Michael Shannon. Okay, so Michael Shannon's in the Criterion Collection. So you probably didn't hear that, but she's happy about that. I like this is a still, but I like the cover. Let's see if it's probably going to say Eric Skillman. Oh, Greg Ruth. Okay, interesting. Well, Greg Ruth is very talented. Is this illustration?
It might be.
Interesting. Wow. That's a extremely well done illustration if it is, because it looks like a still. I think this is a wonderful movie. I was very happy with all the accolades. And also I thought it was kind of a love affair to the B movies. I know that you're big fans of like the Swamp Thing kind of movies. So yeah, supervised by GDT. 4K. So there's a conversation with David Lowery. So if you're fans of his films, he's kind of one of the, I'm going to say a new wave, but talented filmmaker. There's a documentary. There's a lot of things. A lot of things. Oh, and interesting. There's a master class from
Okay.
2017. Yeah. I wonder who they are. Hmm. And then I don't know Carlos Aguilar.
Aguilar.
So an essay from him as well. So I feel like we've been giving you short shrift, Ryan, which is not fair. So what do you think about Shape of Water?
This is one that is difficult to complain about because I love Guillermo del Toro. I love this movie. I'm glad that more people will be able to see it and that we get new extras. But also, this has had a 4K for 6 years. I almost feel like we could have done something slightly different. And I feel terrible coming on Criterion now, just shitting on every announcement. But listen, like I miss a lot. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. This has been probably the most exciting year for Criterion for me in a very long time. But there's
It's
still a
been a
lot
good
of
year.
things
Yeah.
that I feel like they are missing their essence on. And one of the things, as somebody that literally owns a special features company, I am dying for better special features. And I think that
I'm with you. I'm
other
with
than
you.
written essays, this year has been a bit of a letdown on that front. And when we're just putting out, I get it that you're in a close relationship with Guillermo del Toro, but when we're basically just re-releasing his 4K, I mean, we could have done something a little bit better than that, I think.
And
Yeah.
one thing, there have been very, very few commentaries, and I really miss those, and I really
Exactly.
like those with other discs. I was just watching, so we talked to Imogen. I watched The Lady from Shanghai, which is a great movie, and I was listening to her commentary, and she's a great writer as well, and so is I'm sure Carlos. So are many of the others we spotlighted. But commentaries are wonderful. And also new supplements. So I do wonder why, they have the budget for the higher, and they probably sell more
I
4Ks, but
I think
Yeah.
that commentaries, generally speaking, are so time consuming and so difficult to do that it's hard for them to get
Yeah.
like a really big name to do them. So like, I mean, it feels like 10 years ago, you would get the stars and the director and they would all come together and do a conversation or whatever. But I feel like we're not seeing that at all. And and even people like we were talking to Imogen about this, and it's so much work. And I know people that do this too, and the pay is not always
Hmm.
in
For the work you
line
put into
with the
it. Yeah.
work.
Uh,
And so but I agree that I think that, I mean, I'm not always as hung up on supplements as some are, but I have benefited from doing supplement work on
mhm.
discs, and it is pretty rewarding work. And to see that your stuff is getting out there and your ideas are being you know um read and listened to by others. But I think I agree. I feel like I would love to see a commentary on this. I would love to see a GDT commentary on this.
That's what I was
um
thinking. Yeah. And
yeah,
he's so much like us. He's if anybody, any
he's
filmmaker is
a
a
movie
champion.
nerd. He's a
He
movie
has
nerd
a
first and
he has
foremost.
we have I have a man cave, or
He
I
has
should
a
we
fucking
call it
man house.
house. I call it the
you
movie
know
cave. But it's yeah, he does,
he
and
legitimately has a fucking
he has a
house
house for his movies. And
for all of his shit. And I'm just like, if I made it, and I would fucking have a house too for that. So
I'm just going to put this out there, but Jill and I have kind of toyed with the idea of just doing a commentary just for the hell of it. And there's one movie in particular that we're kind of thinking about, but talk about that more, Jill. Now that would be an unauthorized, unofficial. We
it
just
would be so unauthorized. It would be
because
the
we're not
most
going to do
unauthorized
like
thing ever.
50 years of research. Well, I guess we've done a lot of research just by being alive, but it would there'd be a little fun to it too. But it would be very, very informed. The movie in question, we know a lot about the history behind it. So and there could be more. Who knows? But we're doing a lot of stuff, so we also don't want to overshoot. So yeah, Shape of Water, it's coming out 4K. Great point, Ryan, about the 4K. I saw in one of the Facebook groups that somebody did an angry react to this, which usually for a 4K release, you don't see that. I actually asked him why, and I wasn't trying to confront him, and he said, "Oh, I've had the Blu-ray or the 4K Blu-ray for years, so I get it." But I thanked him for his sacrifice. So maybe hopefully he didn't read that as smart ass. And speaking of smartass, we have our last one. And Jill, so Paper
This
Moon,
is
Peter
this
Bogdanovich.
is the biggest monster movie of the entire lineup. Let me tell
Um,
you.
so Jill, before you show your ass, do you want to show Mifune's ass a little more?
Sure. No, listen, of all
I'm
the,
kidding.
so I have made over the years, I
Hmm.
have been very candid in how much I hate Ryan O'Neal. Um, I think I once described him as a wet fart.
You did.
And I stand by that 100%. He's dead now, and I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead. Fuck that. He was a piece of shit. And I think he knew he was a piece of shit, which makes me hate him more that he knew he was a piece of shit. Um, this movie, however,
Such a positive
is
podcast.
is very good. This is a very good movie. So of all the Ryan O'Neal hate that I have in my heart, this is a movie that I can see because he plays a piece of shit in the movie. But really, this
He
movie
does.
for me is
Yeah.
about Madeline Kahn and Tatum O'Neal.
Yes.
And will I probably get this movie? Yeah, I'll buy it. But I had to say that Ryan O'Neal is just a fucking piece of shit. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Ryan, if you have any second thoughts here, since we're just trashing everything today. No, this is a really great lineup.
This is a great release.
It is, and
100%.
I do love this film, and I have a complicated relationship with Ryan O'Neal, not because of his personality or his flaws, although I think they're very well documented. When Jill Blake called him a wet fart, I hadn't heard that before, but I'd heard a lot of other stuff. But the thing is, my issue with him, to some degree, I can separate art from artists, but I can't separate good acting from bad acting. And so I just don't think Ryan O'Neal, for me, at least in my opinion, has been a very good actor. And some films, I'm looking at you, Barry Lyndon, and all your damn candles. Some films are good despite him, and I think he was actually okay in Paper Moon. Would I taken like another 100 of the prime actors of that era? Yes, I would have. I would have taken Jack in that movie. Anybody, but it's still a good movie. It's Kubrick is another story. But I'm with you. I love Tatum, and we did the Bad News Bears for probably our worst decision in Sin and Journeys was our baseball, but it was still fun for us. But Tatum O'Neal in Bad News Bears is great, and she's also had to deal with some things because of Ryan. So yeah, I don't know. I think at least his intentions as a father come through in this movie, and I'm not going to say he comes off as a good person because you're right, the character is a piece of shit, but I do like the movie. It's probably my favorite of his. I'd say Barry Lyndon's a better movie, but this is a better Ryan O'Neal movie, if that makes sense. So let's look at the So okay, we do finally have an audio commentary now. Bogdanovich, this is probably very old, probably from the DVD. It doesn't say when. So they've been porting over old ones. And also the intro, obviously Bogdanovich passed away. Rest in peace. He's a good guy. As far as I know, he's a good guy. And so there's a lot of Bogdanovich on this. I mean,
well, until he kind of like cheated on Polly Platt with Sybil Shepherd. So, and there's some possible I'll just shut up.
No, I mean, I think that stuff is all relevant, and she was in the Last Picture Show, and so yeah, I don't know, I don't know all these stories about these directors. I just know that I hear him in interviews, and he's been all over film for the last few decades, and until his recent passing. But yeah, there's a lot of shitheads in Hollywood, so in Hollywood history. So that shitheads aside, I am looking forward to this. I actually do have I think it's Masters of Cinema, the Region B release, and that's a good release, but I think this is worth upgrading. And also, critic Mark Harris, I believe he's your friend, right, Jill?
Well, I would no, not friend. No.
Oh,
but
okay.
Well, we've talked, like we have communicated online some, but he's just Mark Harris is one of the great critics and historians, and
Yes.
he wrote a couple great books, but one of the best one is Five Came Back, about the 5 directors who served in World War II. So I'm really looking forward to and he also wrote Pictures at a Revolution,
a great book as well, yes,
which is a fantastic book. So I'm really looking forward to this.
And you know what? As we part, we might as well announce speaking of film books, our series. Do you mind, Ryan?
No, by all means.
We are launching a film series. It's technically already launched because the start date is August 1. Do you want to take it, Jill?
Oh, September 1. But
I have it as August.
Was it August? Oh, August.
Well,
okay.
We're recording our first thing for it tomorrow. So
yeah. So one thing that when we started Cine Journeys, and we kind of did this on Criterion Now for a little bit, was just highlighting film books. And so we decided that we would have a journey, but it's not really
free journey.
Yeah, free journey, but it's not really a journey as in this with a beginning and an end. It's just really a feature that will be ongoing on Cine Journeys. And it's called Read Her to Heaven. And so that's a play on Leave Her to Heaven, which was the 1946 film noir and also a book. And so basically in this kind of ongoing feature, we will be showcasing the new books on film, but also like what we consider our essential books. So they could be old books from, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But one thing that I'm very passionate about is you cannot be, let me rephrase them. In order to be a well-rounded cinephile, it is essential that you have knowledge of what goes on with making these films and the history. And so reading about these films and the filmmakers and the actors and the studios and the politics and what was going on during that is so key to really getting a full picture. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing that and
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
highlighting. So for example, I'll just call it out here, is this brand new book about trans cinema. And it's by my friends Caden Mark Gardner and Willow Caitlin McClay, and it's called Corpses, Fools, and Monsters. And this just came out a few weeks ago. They're already in their second printing, but this is a great book about trans film images and the history of trans representation in film. So these are the kind of books that we're going to be discussing, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to it.
So if you're seeing the video, I'm sharing my screen. This is actually not, it does say August 1st, just because we start at the first of the month. So if we might put it up tomorrow, we have to work on some copies, so these links don't work. But this is what, and in fact, we might have a different image. Although, Jill, I kind of like the image with Ellen from Leave Her to Heaven.
Yeah.
And we have a great first guest, and Ryan, you know her. She wrote a book that is sometimes, well, how do I say? The grin will probably give it away. We'll just say that sometimes there's some buyer's remorse when people buy her book. So I think if you know the movie, you will get why she's an amazing first guest. So anyway, I have to unpublish that because it's not actually live, but I just wanted people to see that it's going to be, and it's going to be fun. We have other free things too. We actually have a blogathon that we're going to launch. So
yeah,
we have. And that one's probably going to be announced next week. So anyway, Ryan, you have dealt with a lot, and I know it's your wife's birthday, so I don't want to take you away from her. But any parting thoughts? And thank you, by the way. We're glad to be partners. But
happily, yeah, lots I could say here, but again, I'll just say it's an honor to have you guys on. I know a lot of people respect you, and it brings that sense of gravitas to the podcast network. Beyond
never
that,
had anybody mention me and gravitas in the same sentence. Jeez, wow.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, we don't usually class
by the way, cash that
up.
check after Thursday next week. Yeah, just want to continue to say, everybody check out everybody else on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network. Not only are these label podcasts on there, we have basically anything that you could want to see related to film. We have one of my favorites, the Almost Major podcast, which is dedicated to not the major studios, but the minor studios that were putting out films in like the 80s and 90s. We've got some really great things happening with They Live by Film. Unsung Horrors is always literally ringing the bell for unsung horror movies. And we've got some other shows that are joining the network here soon that are going to be incredible. Like I said, another new show launching next week, another one launching today. It's a very active, busy time, but there's a lot going on. So check them all out. They all deserve it.
And I think when it settles, we'll have to write a post. I mean, we'll write a post on our behalf today anyway. But we also want to. Part of our enjoyment of this is because there are other great shows I've already guested on and know, and shows I listen to. So in fact, like I said, a show I'm doing in 5.5 hours is on your network. So yeah, we want to highlight these great shows. Thanks for putting them together, and yeah, we'll try. I don't think we're classing the joint up. We're just gonna just be one more.
I mean, I just talked about Ryan O'Neal being a wet fart, and then
Yeah.
gravitas.
Gravity,
So-
exactly.
We
yeah.
started this episode talking about Mifune's ass. I want to highlight that too. But also, every show on the network is all about separating the art from the wet fartist. It is totally fine.
Yes.
I
Yes.
see what you did there. I see what you did there.
That's
Okay,
nice.
right now you should show yourself out. We actually are finishing with the wet. There's a right cheek between right. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, now they're moved to the left. Okay, all right, that's it.